Okay. All right. So just have to make sure of that. All right. What am I doing today? I'm going to show you how to take apart a Glock and clean it. All right. This is the Glock 17. This is the original. This is actually a 20th anniversary. You probably can't see that on the video, but it's a 20th. Might be horribly blurry, but it's a 20th anniversary Glock 17, number 322 of 2006 made. Only 1,001 made it to America. So there's not a lot of these guys out there. And anyhow, it's not like they did anything special to it besides, you know, the writing there. It's just regular Glock 17 Gen 3. So anyway, gonna make sure it's clear and then grab it, hold it here, first pull the trigger. Now, of course, this is after you've made sure that the gun is clear, okay? I shouldn't have to tell you that. You know not to have a loaded gun in when you're cleaning it, okay? So you pull it back till you hear a noise. You'll feel it and you'll hear it. Once you hear that, you pull these down here, push forward, comes off. It's very easy. And this gun is slightly modified, nothing major. I got a 22-pound guide rod, steel guide rod. When they did the 1,000-round cook-off with Glock, you can YouTube that. The only thing that happened was the plastic guide rod melted. And I know in Gen 4s, I don't think they do plastic anymore. And so that eliminated that weakness. The only gun that's been tested for reliability more than the Glock, I think, is the HK Mark 23. So anyway, guide rod to the side. I chrome my barrel, polish my feed ramp. You can't really tell because it's dirty. And here we go. I'm going to get ready to clean this. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff I use. I use this. I have to have this. I really do. I have to have this to feel that I've properly lubed my gun. Because I don't put much oil in my gun. You don't need a lot of oil. You just need it in the places where metal rubs upon metal, and that's only a couple of places. So I'll show you where I do that at. There's that. These babies here, my cotton swabs. Listen, I don't clean the gun without these. I just don't do it. I need those. I've got 2 packs of those, and they're not for my ears. G96. Love this stuff. This is like, to me, is perfect blend of cleaning plus solvent. You know, cleaning plus lubricating. And I use this actually only for the inside of the barrel. I don't use it for anything else. I use this to lube, like inside here. This is going to be for the barrel and the greatest of all time. I don't want to hear it. I don't care what else you use. I'm sure other stuff works. It's not Hoppy's 9. It's not Hoppy's. So, let's get started here. I'm going to pull this guy out. And the first thing I'm going to do is go at this with a brush. So, let's see here. I think I'll put the brush on first and then put this to the side. Now, here's something I do. And when I was a range master, oh, also these, of course, gotta have that. When I was a range master, I cleaned guns for a living, basically, and cleared jams. That's what I did, and teach people how to shoot, and gun safety, all day. So I learned, you know, just different ways of cleaning. Just after 5 years of you know, cleaning guns all day, you just come up with different things. And one of the different things that I came up with is putting my barrel in the hoppies and just letting it sit in there until I get to it. Excuse me. That way, it just works the dirt out. And that's just one thing that I do. And let's see here. What else do I need here? Brush, no. And you know what? I think I will go down to the last video I did not go down to the firing pin. But I think I'm going to do it. I'm just going to be quick about it. So, let's do that. Going to push that up, put this in here and pull downwards. This right here. And pull down on it this way. And once I do that, then I can pull up on that plate. Pull firing pin out. Pull that guy out. That popped out, and boom, he comes out. Alright, so now I've got everything out, and I'm gonna, like I said, kind of make this somewhat quick, because I need to be underneath 15 minutes in order for this to, oh, that sucks. That sucks pretty good. Need to be underneath 15 minutes so that I can actually post this. See if I can get this out. If I can, I'm gonna have to use something else. Like, let's see here. This wasn't supposed to be part of it, right? There we go. Make it happen, Captain. All right. So, well, it's been dipped in hoppies, huh? Let's get to using this thing. Don't want to waste it. It's got a lot of hoppies on it. And I'm just going to go through here. Yeah, look at that. I like that. I like that. So since it was dirty like that, I'm going to go back in again. All right, perfect. Make sure we get all that stuff out. As far as, you know, going down to the firing pin and getting all inside of that, I only do that maybe once every 4 cleans, once every 4 range visits. That's about how often I go down to that. I don't do it every time. I just don't feel like it's needed every time. I know there's a lot of guys that I've seen guys actually brag about how they don't clean their Glocks, and it's awesome that we have, you know, guns that, you know, are actually so reliable that you don't have to clean it for a long while. But ever since I was a kid, I was taught to clean my gun. And that's what I do. I'm not gonna, after every range visit, you know, ever since I had a 270 bolt action when I was 13 years old, every time we get done, you know, target practicing, you clean it thoroughly. And that's how I feel about it. I will not walk around with a dirty gun. Actually, I have a story. I got pulled over once on my way to work, and I was speeding. There's this area where it's like the speed is 50 miles an hour, and then suddenly it switches to 35 miles an hour. Here in Seattle, the Aurora Bridge. You know what I'm talking about if you're from Seattle. And so it was easy for him to get tickets, you know, in that spot. Anyhow, he got me, he pulled me over, and he asked me, did I have a gun on me, blah, blah, blah. I told him, yeah, I did. And he said, "Where is it?" And so I was kind of close to work, and I can't bring my gun into my job that I had at the time. This was years ago, like 10 years ago. And the guy said, "Where's your gun?" I said, "It's under the seat." And he said, "Don't touch it." I said, "I won't." And so he said, "All right, I'm going to open the door and I'm going to reach in and grab it." I said, "Go ahead." So he reached in, he grabbed the gun, and then he said, "All right, I'm going to take it back to the car with your license and registration, blah, blah, blah. I'll be back." And so I've done this part here. And now I'm going to set this to the side. Solvent is not like, lubrication. It's not like lubricant. Even if I didn't dry it all out, it'll dry itself out. It's not going to stay there like lubrication. Anyhow, he comes back to the car and he says, "Now this is the Glock 17, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, there's also, got to use that, there's also the Glock 22, same size, right? I'm like, "Right." And he's, opening the chamber and everything. He's got the mag to the side. He's opened the chamber, looking at it, and he goes, "This is the cleanest gun I've ever seen in my life." And I told him, I say, I just make sure my guns are clean. I work at the gun range. I'm a range master. And so he's like, "Oh, really?" And, we had a quick conversation, and then he handed me my ticket and said, "Have a good day." Handed me my gun back and all that good stuff. But I just a story telling you why I'm cleaning this gun. I've been pulled over maybe 2 other times with my gun in my lifetime. Actually, I've only been pulled over maybe 4 other times in my life, actually. And when I get pulled over, it's never a major thing. There was one time I was about a half a block from my house, and cops pulled me over, and they said my license plate light was out, and asked me, "Do you have a gun?" I said, "Yes, I do." They said, "Where is it?" I said, "It's on my person. It's on my hip." And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to ask you to step out and then put your hands up on top of the car, blah, blah, blah." And I could have, said, am I being detained? I could have went through all that stuff, but I didn't. I just, whatever. As long as they don't do anything completely out of pocket, whatever. I just put myself in their shoes. If I'm pulling somebody over and they have a gun, I think I'd feel safer if the gun was off of them. But that's also not my, that's the right of the person to have a gun. If they didn't do anything wrong, I understand. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just understand. And I often put other people in front of myself when it comes to, just feeling relaxed, feeling okay. Outside of even the cops, just, people always looking out for the next guy. Anyhow, pulled me out and took the gun off of my hip, said we're going to take it back. Told them where my license to carry was, They grabbed that, took a look at it. And then they told me there was some guy that had been prowling in the neighborhood and breaking in houses, and breaking in cars and whatnot. And they're like, "Have you heard any noises or blah, blah, blah?" "No, I haven't." And then they handed me my gun back. Well, actually, asked me to go sit back in the car, and then handed me my gun back with the mag separate, and said, have a good day. You know, they weren't a-holes or nothing about it, but that was that one. And so the other one that I had was the cop pulled me over, and this one, I don't even remember what they pulled me over for, because I think this one was kind of weird. There was nothing, you know. I wasn't speeding. There was no lights out. There was nothing. They just pulled me over. And asked for my license and registration. I didn't ask him, what did you pull me over for? You know, I just listened, whatever. Don't want any trouble. I've seen some stuff, and I ain't talking about online, I'm talking about in person. I've seen some things where there's some bad cops and there's good cops. And I've come across both, you know. I've come across cops that had me laughing, you know, cool guys. I had some cops that really was kind of out of pocket, and they gave you no other, you know, reasoning of why would they pull me over, why are they treating me this way, you know. And I'm not fast to say racial profiling, but when there's nothing, when you didn't explain what you pulled me over for, and there was no reason to do it, you know, it's kind of like, well, what is that? Is it profiling? Maybe, maybe not. But anyhow, okay, we've got this cleaned up pretty good. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cotton swabs of dirt out of the guns. Okay, now I can also pop this out, pull this up, clean that too. Not gonna do that just yet. Gonna pull this barrel out. I'll finish that story in a moment. And I'm gonna go through here with this. Get that out of there. Okay. And then take this off and put my little Space Needle on here. And go through with one of these. Should be pretty nice and black. I go through it. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong tip. Be careful. This is for my 10 millimeter. Gotta get the 9 millimeter. Here we go. The smaller Space Needle. Okay. Go back through here. All right. It's got some black on there. And I always look up at the light. Yeah, it looks pretty clean, but I'm going to do it one more time. As far as that story, so anyway, after he came back with my license and registration, he then asked me afterwards, it was 2 cops. He asked me afterwards, do you have a gun on you? And I said, yeah. And he said, what? And I said, yes. And he said, where is it? I told him it's on my person. And he goes, okay. He goes back and he talks to the other cop. And then he comes back. The other cop comes back and he goes, why didn't you tell us that? And I said, didn't ask. And he said, you always want to let the officer know when they pull you over if you have a gun or not. And I asked him, I said, is that the law? You know, I really want to know, you know, not being an a-hole or anything like that. I literally want to know, is that the law? If that's the law, oh, I'm going to do it every time, you know. If it's not the law, then it's up to me if I want to do it or not. And so I asked him, is that the law? And he said, yes, at first. And then I asked him again, I said, that's the law? And he said, no, it's not the law. It's not the law. It's just common courtesy. And I said, okay. But it's not a law. I don't have to do it. It's just common courtesy. And he said, yes, it's just common courtesy. I said, all right. And that was it. He gave me my ID, my license and whatnot, and said, drive safe, have a good day. Never told me what I got pulled over, and I didn't ask him. I should have. Of course I should have, but I didn't. And that was that. That was that situation. I had one other situation. Don't really care to talk about it. It was a very emotional situation. Some overkill officers just going a little too far. Anyhow, all right, so I'm wiping all this, excess hoppies off the barrel, getting this stuff off. Actually, I'm gonna grab this towel here. Mm-hmm. There we go. And that barrel is it's beautiful. There it is. It's as clean as it can get. Let's go ahead and put this back in here. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't get my little pieces, did I? Guess this is going to go over 15 minutes. Oh, well. All right. All right. Get that out of there. Okay. And place that inside. And this piece. And you know what? Maybe I could do a part 1 and a part 2. Maybe that's what I'll do. Let me check. Oh. It's too late. We're at 23 minutes. That went very fast. That went very fast. Anyhow. Let's get my I told you I use these things. This is how I clean. This is what I use. I can get into spots I can't get into with other, other items that people use to clean with. I just use these guys. This is my go-to. This works for me. I always told my the owner of the gun range, Maria, sweet lady, very sweet person. Unfortunately, a lot of people try to take advantage of her. She always made sure I had my cotton swabs. Always made sure I had them. Boom, there we go. And where you at? You're not even dirty. You're not dirty at all. Okay. So I'll just take one of these that's already wet with it and just give it an up and down. It's not dirty at all. This, I've rarely ever see this thing dirty. But just give it a little wipe down. Put that inside. Boom. Just like that. And give you a small little wipe down also. And the firing pin itself, yeah, it's dirty. It's definitely dirty. Okay. There we go. All right. And just up and down like this. Boom. And I usually always go in here. You know, everyone has their ways. You know, usually I'm not recording this. Usually I'm sitting down in front of my TV and I'm watching a man flick, you know, watching Lord of War or maybe a season of Jack Bauer, 24, Shooter, you know, watching one of my movies, Black Hawk Down, and I'll clean. As you see, this can take, you can really take your time if you want to, and, you know, this can take an hour, you know, if you're really taking your time. So anyhow, boom, I got this stuff in here, and now I'm going to, is this good enough? Yeah, this should be good enough. Boom. Got that back in there. All right. And now that I've got that back in there, here's my stuff. Now, I didn't use my G96. You know what? I'm going to use my G96. I'm going to use my G96. I'm not going out like that. That barrel needs a little bit of lubrication. We are going to go through with some of this. All right. Boom. If I don't use this, the gun's not going to have the smell that I like. It's honestly, there's a certain smell. After I get done cleaning my guns, I'll open the chamber and I smell it. I do it every time. And if it doesn't have that smell, I'm not happy. It has to have that smell. And this G96 is part of that smell. It's a mixture between the G96, the hoppies, you know, and just the smell of a gun. All right. It's not really dry. Get a dry patch and go on through. Boom. Just dried it out. Nothing major, but it's got that G96 in there now. You know, I'm not going to keep drying it until there's none left. No, I'm going to leave a little bit of lubrication on there. Because that's how I do what I do. Now, this comes over time of, you know, I had to clean these guns to well enough to avoid them being sent up to the gunsmith. You know, so me and the gunsmith had a relationship, you know, as far as the guns having problems. The gun didn't just get sent up. I would check it out first. You know, I would check it out. I would clean it. thoroughly. And after the clean, then, you know, if it's still having a problem and I can't fix the issue, then it got sent up to the gunsmith. Peter Dunn is his name. He was chief engineer of Detonics. And he knows his stuff. He really knows his stuff. He's a great guy, too. Really nice guy. All right, here we go. Oiling. Boom. That's it. That's it. And a dab there. Put my barrel in. And I just go back and forth here because metal on metal does occur there. Boom. Put the guide rod back in. Take a double look here. I got most basics. Yes, I do times kick this pin out, pull this up, and clean all in there too. I do that even rare, once every 10 times. All right. And I do that why? To work the oil, you know, from front to back on that slide. Work it through, and these are wet. That's a little dry. Just gonna. Okay. Maybe a towel. Wipe this down. All right. We've got a clean Glock. We've got a very, very clean Glock 17. There it goes. Smells how I want it to smell. I love it. All right. Thanks for watching. Smells so good. Whammy out.